All right, and it is 11 in the morning. So, welcome everyone to What's Doing Hummingbird for spring 2025. Um, yeah, we have some exciting stuff to share with everybody on kind of what we've been doing throughout the year, what's came out in March, and then some stuff that's on the horizon. Before we begin, I'll introduce myself and my co-presenter here. So I'm Stefan Centers. I'm a technical trainer here at Senate Inc. I'll be moderating the QA section of the webinar and also be presenting on a couple items that we have in store for you. And with me is Gandar. I think everybody knows Gandar. Yeah, I think at this point we're becoming like the webinar eternal hosts, right? It's always you and me hosting the thing. So
We are the regulars.
we are the regulars, yeah. But I think we do a pretty good job. So we're rocking and rolling here. Gandar is the product manager on reports and business intelligence. And he's got some more stuff that he wants to share with you as well. Now, throughout the webinar, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like us to answer during the webinar, please use the Q&A section in Zoom. That's where you can post your questions and we'll have a chance to answer them as well. So use that rather than the chat section when you are asking your questions right there. So yeah, that's the thing right there. And if there's any questions that we can't get to during the webinar, we'll do our best to address them afterwards. We can go ahead and reach out to you via email or through your CSM, make sure that we get that question answered. All right, so we'll launch right into it. So far, kind of what have we done in 2025, right? And we had kind of the exciting things coming out. So one of them was the introduction of Mobile Manager. Mobile Manager is an app that you can actually download on your phone. You can have an iPhone or an Android device, doesn't matter which one. We have an app for both. And the initial kind of functionality for Mobile Manager is centered around delinquency tasks. So enabling and empowering your site managers to walk around a facility, be able to inventory spaces, be able to register that done an overlock, things like that. And so that's kind of the first stage of what we're doing with Mobile Manager, and we'll have more and more improvements to that app as time goes on. We have a great virtual event that we posted on our YouTube channel. If you just search for Tenant Inc. on YouTube and search for the Mobile Manager virtual event, we go really in depth on that feature, what you can do with it now and kind of what's on the horizon. So I invite you to check out that virtual event. It's on demand, so you can watch as much or as little of it as you would like, but there's some great stuff in there and definitely worth checking out. Then in February, we released some more reports functionality. That was the last webinar that Gandar and I did. So focusing on collated reports, new reports permissions, and also report download history. So really giving you more control over the reports that you have in Hummingbird and how you can generate those and how you can determine who's seeing what report. So lots of improvements there. Again, we also have the on-demand video for that webinar on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out. We do a pretty solid job of walking you through all the user stories, all the permissions that you can encounter, and all the great functionality that we've added there. So that's 2025 kind of in review so far. We've got those webinars and other videos available on YouTube. So if you want to check it out there, we've got it there for you. Now, moving into March and some of the things that we've introduced in March, one of the things that we've done is the delinquency auto advance limit for the payment reversal stage. And to walk you through what this is doing right now is, let's say you have a past due tenant or a delinquent tenant who pays, and then they go ahead and they do a payment reversal, right? Now, the way that it works in Hummingbird right now is we have an auto advance feature in our delinquency. So if someone does a payment reversal at day 5, they return to day 5. If someone has a payment reversal at, say, day 60, they're going all the way to day 60, right? And that auto advance has its benefits, right? They don't start back at square one and kind of game the system. But what this auto advance limit does is it basically says, I'm going to set a stage inside of my delinquency workflow that says, okay, this is where the auto advance is going to go to. And it helps with preventing things like a ton of lien letters going out all at once, a ton of late fees all being applied at once, you can position this auto advance limit stage where you want in your delinquency workflow so that, maybe you put that stage right before a lien letter goes out or right before late fees are about to be applied. So the automation is stopping at that stage, even if a tenant reversed payment at a later stage. So what that allows you to do is really kind of stay in compliance and make sure that lien letters and auctions and late fees, they're all being applied on the right timelines right there. And it really makes sure that you're kind of keeping up with things on the compliance side. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and switch my screen really quick, and I will go ahead and show you what that looks like in Hummingbird. And it's actually pretty simple to implement, right? It's something that we have living inside of the delinquency workflows right now. So I'll go ahead and share this. There we go. I think everyone can see that. And if I'm scrolling down to my delinquency automation flow right here, this is in the Hummingbird settings under automation. If I scroll down here to my Nevada storage delinquency workflow, you can see that I have this little anchor icon right next to the stage where I've assigned this auto advance limit. And this allows me to go ahead and set that stage as my auto advance stage right there. I see that we had someone raise their hand. Feel free to put your question in the Q&A and we can address that in just a little bit. And if I want to go ahead and edit a stage and set it as the payment reversal stage, I'm simply going into that stage right there and clicking mark this stage as the payment reversal stage. Now, note that you can only set one stage in your delinquency workflow as this payment reversal or auto advance limit. And it really is up to you where you would like to put this stage. We don't necessarily say, hey, specifically it needs to be this stage. We give you some freedom there. But it is a good thing to have in your delinquency workflows. And it's definitely something that can help you stay in compliance as you're working through delinquency, especially if you have payment reversals, which unfortunately can happen. So very easy to implement. Just have this checked right here. And then you'll see an anchor icon right here, and hovering over that will give you a tooltip letting you know more about that stage right there. So there you go. And that is the delinquency auto advance stage right there. We'll go ahead and ask a couple questions here. We have a couple questions lined up already. So Jenny asks, will Mobile Manager also work on a tablet? So kind of going back to what we've had in the past. Right now, we recommend it more for mobile phones. So if you have like an iPhone or an Android device, you can use it on your phone right now. I think we're doing some optimization for Mobile Manager on tablets, but we'll give you more information kind of as those improvements roll along. So right now, we more kind of recommend using it on your phone. Not that you can't use it on a tablet, just that the experience might be a little different. We have another question here, was a payment reversal. So let's say someone, they charge their card, right? So they pay for the space, but then they go ahead and they try to get a refund or their chargeback or something like that. So they're getting their money back. So that would be considered a payment reversal in that case, right? So anyone who's trying to kind of say, hey, I'm going to pay for my space, I'm going to try to get that refund so I get out of delinquency, right? Hummingbird already has some protections in there in terms of the auto advance, and that auto advance limit is just enabling you to say, okay, this is where I want that auto advance to end. So hopefully that answered your questions right there. All right. Okay. With that, I'll go ahead and show my screen again. And I'll confirm really quick. Everyone can indeed see the screen, right? Gander, you can see the screen? I was able to see the screen. Perfect. All right. Just want to make sure that we're running a good show here. All right. With that, I'll turn it over to Gandar, who's going to talk about some of the new reports functionality that we have in Hummingbird. So go ahead and take it away, Gandar.
All right. So in our last release, which happened in March, we released the couple of reports, so discount and promotion variance report and rent plus rate variance report. So we had a lot of people reaching out to us with the feature request tickets, and we were able to prioritize this. So this was something we was asked very often, like, do you have a functionality or do you have a report which will give me, which will be able to, which will help me identify how much rent amount I'm paying by offering discounts, right? Or how is my current rent like based on sell rate segment on the last rent is that did. The internal retail report understanding your rent was related, and also a retail report about understanding how many stocks you offer and how much revenue you lose because of that. So that's what these two reports are about. So user stories are pretty simple. So as a district manager, property manager, I want to see a detailed report of all the discount promotions that you've offered, and how much that we are we losing on to discount, right? Essentially understand optimal variance for the discount program. So I'll quickly walk you through to the report and give you a quick overview about how it works. All right, go ahead and share my screen. All right, so you can see my Hummingbird instance right here. I'm on report section. I'm gonna search for the discount promotion variance report. It should be under your operations coordinator. It's a static report. So you select last month of your typing would select I would do last month for this. Select how property uh collated or consolidated, whatever you want to choose, and based on how you want to look, you can always do that. Select a file type here and then run the report. Right here. So essentially we're following the same standard layouts that we have. First page will be a summary page, and the second page and third page will be a detail page, right? So essentially in the summary, it's telling you how many discounts and promotion you offered in that range, how many invoices or how many tenants got that discount and promotion, and what was the variance in the rent uh, that you're observing by offering that discount and promotion. And same for merchandise if you are doing any merchandise discounting. And this is giving you a high level view. On detail, you'll be able to go to that particular tenant, understand which space it was, when was the move-in date, what was the discount and promotion offered, and how much is the rent variance. And you can actually tie it with the rent offered. So to give you an example, if you are a first of the month billing company, billing property, and you have a tenant moving in on 15th of April, so that tenant moved in a 10 by 10 space with a rent amount of $100. So essentially, you offer a 50% discount, 50% first month discount to that tenant. So that's your $100, 50% off on his $50. And since they moved in on 15th of that month, that's a proration amount. So that's $25 of that. So half of 50, that is $25. So you will be seeing on this report the $25 rent variance for that particular tenant. And again, it's a detailed report. You can download it for collated or have it just consolidated in one report. That can be done too. All right, and we also have moved in by, so you can always figure out who was the property manager or a district manager who had that tenant moved in. So this is something which one of our customers said that they could find it useful for incentivizing too. So
Yeah.
making sure which property manager is offering this discounts and uh, making sure they are having the tenants moved in and understanding the variance so that they can come up with the right incentive amount for that. Because you don't want the property manager to go go wide with giving out discounts too. So it's really something that you want to control. All right. So that was one report, and the next report that we built was pretty similar, rent and rate variance report. Again, both stars come out, and so we made sure that we ran it as in our development last month. So essentially, the user story is pretty simple too. So it's telling you as a private manager or your property manager for that matter, you should be able to compare your tenant's current rate with the sale rate associated with that space, with the set rate associated with that space, and also the last rent increase that, or also the last rent increase that they had. So essentially understanding the variance on all the three seller, etc., and the rent, so that you can understand how much rent it is you want to do based on where you want to be on that sell rate level, right? So a more granular information as to for you to decide like these are the 5 or 6 tenants for which the variance between the sell rate and current rent is a lot. I need to top that. So essentially getting a full granular review of that. And now we go at Hummingbird. I'm going to show you where it is. It's in your senior management reports right here. Again, static reports, same standardization across all the reports. You can download it for multiple properties, one properties, or even consolidate or collate it for that matter. Or even property use, right? We can always do property use too. I don't know how many people are using, but that's a good metric I think step out to understand. If really if people are really using all the features that we're building out, because I for one think property is really cool. Yeah, for a bigger portfolio to understand and download reports based on different segments. Yeah. All right. So same standardization here too. Somebody at the top and angle level at the bottom. So essentially making you or giving you a view of how many tenants are above or below set rate and what's the dollar variance on that. And then a detail at the bottom, which will tell you that this particular tenant which was loaded last year is on this current trend. This is the set rate, the variance on that. This is the sell rate, the variance on that, the last rate amount that tenant had. So based on what the variance is on your sell rate, you always decide what your next rent increase plan is going to be or what your next rent increase action is going to be. All right. So essentially that's about it. High level would be a detailed understanding of your rent versus rate. So that helps you do your revenue management and discount how much revenue is at stake when you offer certain discounts or certain promotions. So those are all these 2 reports about. And I think, yeah, that should be it. Stefan, do you want to add anything on this?
No, just the bit that you're talking about with property groups, I think is really strong, right? That was a feature that we had come out not too long ago.
Yeah.
And just the things that you can do with property groups, I think is really amazing, right? So whether you want to kind of, gather facilities based on state,
Yeah.
if you have a specific district that you work in, right? Maybe you have specific district managers that you want to bundle things together, right? You could maybe even do it by the type of facility, right? Maybe you have all of your parking specific facilities in one. Maybe you have all of your like multi-story kind of facilities kind of all bundled together. So it's a really powerful feature. And I want to kind of check that out within Hummingbird, and it's fairly easy to assign those property groups. And if you have any questions on the property group itself, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We're more than happy to kind of answer those questions right there.
Or feel free to talk with your CSMs, and they are pretty equipped with it. They'll be able to set you up and create those properties for you the way you want.
Gotcha. We have one question here. What report lists the actual rent and fees that were paid to the business? Kind of a good high level question that we can tackle for everyone right now.
So what was it again?
What report lists the actual rent and fees that were paid to the business? And I'm going to adjust the audio really quick here. I know we're having some slight audio issues, so hopefully this helps solve it here. So let us know if that keeps happening in the Q&A. But yeah, which report would actually list the actual rent and fees that were paid out?
So right now we don't have a detailed report which gives you a fee level breakdown of it. I know we had some tickets coming in for that.
Mhm.
Like it would be really great if you can list down all the fees that you're collecting and that is being paid. So right now, all our reports is just aggregation of all the fees that we have.
Mhm.
But that is definitely something which we can add it to our roadmap and make sure we can get that done. But this is good feedback. I think this is where we collect all of the ideas and make sure it gets shipped out.
Excellent. And we're getting feedback that the audio is much better. So glad that we were able to sort that out for you guys. Let's see. So yeah, what I'll do is we'll hop back to the presentation here.
I also see one more question which I want to address is it's about invoice versus payments, right?
Yeah.
I think we have few people talking about it when they do get confused about a report which is showing due data based on invoices, another report is showing due data based on payments, and that really gets confusing when they want to give it to their bank for investors or even for filing taxes for that matter. So I can't really tackle this question right now because it's not too detailed. But I think what we can do is we can probably send out an email to P or any of the support for that matter.
Yep.
And we'll identify what issue you're facing with this because it is a common question that we get asked often when it comes to sales tax. But we'll get that resolved. We'll answer that question.
All right. All right. And then one last question that we'll kind of answer here before we give a very quick sneak peek of what's on the horizon. What report lists the actual rent paid versus pro forma rents? Is this also sort of kind of something that we are looking at in the future, or do we have something right now?
So pro forma rents, I think that's something which is which is very subjective on how you classify a pro forma rent. I think what we can do is I can add probably schedule a follow-up question list.
Yeah.
And send it over to Greg.
Yeah.
And then ask him what he's expecting, and if you can find anything which is similar to that, that's great. If not, if you can see if we can answer it somewhere.
All right. Excellent. So yeah, please reach out to Gandar for those questions right there. And go ahead and we'll move on to the next bit right here. So we'll go ahead and I'll share my screen. And I'd like to share kind of what's on the horizon and what's next. And it's kind of a feature that I think a lot of people have been wanting. And I know kind of my own kind of calls with you guys and talking through, this is one of the big ticket items that we've addressed. So we do have not rent list on the horizon. We've built it out in such a way that, we're going to be able to kind of block those tenants who are on do not rent list based on things like their email or their phone number. But as we developed it, we also realized that, you may have someone on a do not rent list who shares a name with a good tenant, right? Someone who's actually paying on time and whatnot. So the do not rent list will enable those people with those same names to come through either on Hummingbird and Mariposa. And it will block based on more kind of definite pieces of personal information. So if they're trying to rent with an email address that's been blocked, if they're trying to rent with a phone number that's been blocked, Hummingbird is going to pick that up. And it is something that will work on both Mariposa and Hummingbird. Now, if you have someone who's trying to come into the store and try and move in, right, and talk to the store manager, or let's say they're going through like a call center or a remote manager, right? If they were to look up that particular contact and based on their email or the phone number, we will have a tag on the profile that will clearly label them as do not rent. It's all password, not password, it's all permission protected. So it's something that, you can't just have, people just adding on to the do not rent list as they please. It's something that we'll actually control. And I'm really excited once we have that feature a little closer to release to show that to the audience and to everyone using Hummingbird. The way that we implement it is really, really cool. Putting the finishing touches on it right now. And we'll talk about it in much more detail future webinar. So we'll have more information there, show it off the platform. So any questions you may have around the do not rent list, kind of put them away right now, write them down on a notepad, right? Save it on your computer. And once we have that webinar for do not rent, some of the other features that are on the horizon, we'll tackle that in a lot more detail. But I know this is something that a lot of people have been asking for. I'm really, really excited once it does release. And I think it's really going to help kind of streamline operations and make things better across the board. So really excited to kind of get that underway. And with that, we're at Q&A right now. So we have about 5 minutes left in our webinar. So if you have any other questions, feel free to kind of put them in the Q&A right now. Gandar and I, of course, here to answer those until about 11:30 our time. So stop sharing, let them roll in. Let's see what's up.
We had one more question coming in about what report list rent paid, right? So I think payments report should have a paid rent column, and that should be all the payments that you collected for rent and for all your rent invoices or charges. So you can always use that. But if you're looking for anything specific, do let us know and we'll help you find the appropriate report for that.
Excellent.
And
Go ahead, Keanu.
apologies for the feedback because we are not using our regular microphone today.
Yes. Yeah, we will make sure that we have a stellar audio going forward. I know someone who's always focused on audio. It's a little off. It always gets me a little bit. So feedback there, make sure that we implement it in the future. One thing that I want to touch on that I've been talking about in a lot of kind of just training calls and whatnot is the lead activity kind of created and modified date reports, right? And I think one question that we get a lot is, I want to take a look at the leads that have been converted, right? And if I'm going into the leads tab, I don't always see them right there.
Yeah.
The leads
That's
tab,
active tenants.
that's the active tenants and active leads, right? So, one of the things that I've talking about a lot is, lead activity created and modified. The fact that you can pull in those historical leads, right? You can see who was converted and who wasn't, right? You can see kind of the flow in terms of who created the lead and the different channels that they came through and whatnot. So more of a quick tip, I invite everyone, if you're looking for more detail on leads in your system, definitely use those two reports: lead activity created date and lead activity modified date. They're both dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So you can add in more columns if you want to. They kind of customize it the way that fits your business. But if you've kind of had those questions about, well, I really want to kind of see how things were converted or where people came from and take a look at the historical data, it's there in those two reports. So just thought I'd call that out while we're winding down the webinar. Yeah, this is kind of a lot of reports anyways, right? So good opportunity to bring it up.
Yeah, and we have also been doing a lot of back end work on getting those lead attributions accurate and so on. So I think the future looks promising for all the lead attribution and lead activity reports that because the more information we collect, the more we can put it out.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot of good things coming up on that.
Very excited. Yeah. I can't wait to get those out there. Once they're ready to go, and can't wait to show it to everybody within kind of the Hummingbird universe. So we have about 3 minutes left. So if you have any other questions, feel free to pose them. We are here to answer those as well. And if you don't get a couple in a couple of minutes, we're always about giving you guys back a gift of time. So don't mind closing out a little bit early as well. Yeah, Gandar, anything else that you wanted to add? Don't have too much dead air filling the recording.
No, I think that was it. Looking forward for the next webinar.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in at the moment. If you have any particular reporting questions, kind of what's on the horizon, things that you'd like to see, please go ahead and let Gandar know. Feel free to email him. I know Gandar, one of the comments he made is you love kind of being on these customer calls because it allows you to kind of surface those insights and better.
Yeah, it's direct feedback, so it's just always better.
Yeah. Are there any plans for user activity reporting? And I would assume that would mean both Hummingbird users going in and editing different fields and changing that. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if you've started to notice that, but a lot of features of Hummingbird, you're now starting to see last edited by the time and who was the person who made that change, right? You're starting to see a lot of the small text in a lot of our features. So that's part of the audit plan that we're doing. So we are essentially auditing each of the users' action, and we'll soon plan to roll out the report, which will tell you that this person changed the property setting of this particular property. So there will be a detailed audit report of that. But plan right now is ongoing. It's just documenting all those actions. So we are definitely heading in the right direction. The report will be out soon.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've seen that across a couple of things. Like I think the report's download history, right? It'll show you the last person to download a report, right?
Yeah. Also on tenant profile.
Yeah.
There was the last move, the move out notes and everything, right? Where was it edited, who edited it, and all that stuff.
Very good. So some exciting stuff on the horizon, and I can't wait to kind of show it to to everybody once we have it ready to go. Merchandise reporting as well. I think we have some stuff in the works for merchandise reporting, right?
Yes. So that's part of the merchandise management production.
Nice.
Which that we plan to do in the next couple of months. So it will be out with that.
Very good. Yeah. So excited to see that as well. So I know that we had launched Merchandise Manager a couple months ago, and we're slowly starting to add more and more to that. So you'll see more features roll out kind of throughout the year, and we have some exciting stuff around merchandise that
Yeah.
I have to keep behind lock and key for right now. But yeah, I think you guys will love it once we kind of show it off.